In today's video, I want to talk to you guys about getting strong. That's right, ego lifters, listen up. I'm going to help you to actually add some poundage to that 1 rep barbell bench press so you can raise up your gym social status and impress the ladies. Actually, I'm just kidding. Nobody really gives a shit. But regardless of what your reasoning for wanting to be strong is, in today's video, I do want to give you some tips and tricks and talk about one component of strength specifically that I think is underappreciated and how you can start implementing it right away to maybe raise that bar up of how much weight you're moving. Without further ado, let's get into it. What's going on, Savage Nation? CJ here, back with another coaching tips video, and today we're talking about getting strong. That's right, we are trying to produce as much force as possible. The force is with us. That was a Star Wars reference, and I'm not really, that's not common for me. I didn't even watch the movies, actually, if we're being honest. That's neither here nor there. Today we're talking about getting strong, and before we can move forward, I gotta draw a line in the sand. I'm not a big fan of drawing lines in the sand. You guys know that most everything in this fitness industry is not a black or white or a yes or no answer. There's context that has to be added to it, but because you guys don't really have more than an on and off switch, I've got to actually make a distinction between the aesthetic side of the house and the performance side of the house. So in this video, we are specifically talking about performance. We're talking about moving as much weight as possible from point A to point B. We're talking about proficiency. We are not talking specifically about those of you that are just trying to grow muscle tissue or lose weight or just look more aesthetic. Now, with that said, yes, you guys can actually benefit from this information too, because again, it's not quite black and white. Both sides of the house, whether it's strength or hypertrophy, without a doubt, they definitely cross into each other's realms. Think of it this way. If you're a bigger person, the overall mass of you actually plays a contributing factor to the amount of strength that you have. Also, the cross section or the diameter of a particular muscle also plays into the strength equation. So being bigger helps out quite a bit for being strong, no surprise. On the flip side, being strong helps you to accumulate more volume, and assuming you can recover from it, will contribute to a greater amount of muscle growth overall. If I move a bench press 10 reps of 100 pounds, that's a certain amount of volume. But if I were able to get strong enough to move 200 pounds for 10 reps, that's double said volume. So anyway, they live within the same realm, but they're not exactly the same thing. So for the sake of this video, for this distinction, I want to make sure that you guys understand I'm going to be talking about a specific thing that, though I think it's important to all goals, is really mostly focused around those of you trying to get strong. Now look, we all know that recruiting as much muscle as possible, really activating muscle and having a larger diameter of muscle fibers, all this is actually going to help us to get strong, and that's all well and good. But what about those outliers that we see on TV and those examples of smaller individuals, smaller surface area of muscle that seem to be strong? There has to be more to strengthen that, right? And the answer is yes. You see, though the muscular system is incredibly important, we also can't forget the thing that precedes it in the kinetic chain, and that would be the nervous system. So essentially, the nervous system tells the muscular system to move the skeletal system. And sometimes we underappreciate the role of the nervous system. Here's an example, even though it may seem kind of crazy, but like just bear with me here, okay? Let's imagine you have a bodybuilder and it's a very large individual. I mean, this is somebody with tons of muscle on their body, but they're diagnosed with some sort of neurological disease. Maybe it's MS or MSA or Parkinson's. Regardless of the amount of tissue on this individual, they're not able to actually tap into it. Now, it's a sad truth, but that really just goes to show how important the nervous system is altogether. Now, let's backtrack out of that scenario and let's just look at a average healthy individual that wants to be strong. Let's say they want to get better at the bench press. Now they're thinking, well, I need a bigger chest, I need bigger triceps, I need bigger front delts. All this stuff is what's kind of in the average person's mind. But what a lot of people miss is that you have to be good at the particular skill set of the bench. Now, bench is just our example. You could actually fill in the blank with whatever it is you want. You want to get better at jumping high, you want to get better at squatting, deadlifting, power clean snatches. But the skill itself, the specific movement pattern of that skill, is where I want to focus our attention. Think of if you were to start riding a bike for the first time. And we all know this experience, or we've at least seen this experience on TV, where you have the 5-year-old kid and trying to teach them how to ride the bike. And the old saying is, well, it's like riding a bike. Essentially saying once you get past that learner phase of learning how to ride the bike, it kind of sticks with you. Now this speaks to something that we call synchronicity, but it's essentially adaptation from the nervous system. It's that if we spend enough time at a particular skill set, whether it's standing on a skateboard, riding a bicycle, we start to put in place kind of a learning adaptation where the movement pattern is something that we get good at. You can learn good movement pattern and you can learn bad movement pattern. We are very good at teaching ourselves bad habits all the time. So this leads me to pointing out the obvious, and that is we need to step outside of what it is that we're doing, stop focusing on adding weight to the bar, and really ask yourself this question. Are you spending enough time getting good at the skill? Do you feel confident that you are actually doing all the things that you need to do to be good at the skill and then building on that? Or are you essentially changing the tires on an out-of-a-line car? Hopefully you get where I'm coming from. Essentially, we have to make sure that we are actually laying the foundation first, that we are really getting good at the movement, because at that point, then we can start adding weight to the bar, which is going to contribute to strength on the muscular level. But before then, we're kind of just building a house on weak foundation. And you would be shocked at how many times I see people just make minor technical changes to their movements and immediately see strength improvements. Breathing techniques, the bar pattern, certain leverages around them. It's mind-blowing how many people really miss the forest for the trees whenever they're looking at how much weight they can do. All right, so here's my takeaway. Here's what I would say to you guys, and you've got to have an honest conversation with yourself, or maybe you have a coach or something like that. You can talk with them about it. But before you actually make the next progression in the amount of weight you're lifting or something like that, really make a decision. Are you being technical enough? Are you being good enough at the specific movement? Are you squatting to the appropriate depth? Are you using the certain leverages on the bench press to keep yourself in a good pattern that makes mechanical sense? Is your deadlift set up correctly? Are your cleans, your snatches, whatever it may be? If you're curling in the squat rack, that doesn't matter. Whatever it is you're doing, are you doing it proficient enough? From there, you can start making progressions like adding weight to the bar, changing rep schemes, rest periods, whatever. That's it for today's video. Hopefully this was helpful to you guys. Would love to hear your feedback down below. Do me a huge favor, comment, subscribe, do whatever it is you can to help us get the word out. We appreciate y'all. We'll talk to you next time.